Hey, what's up out there, everybody? I hope you're all doing fantastic in your worlds. Today here, we're talking about The Hunt from director Craig Zobel. Now, this has been deemed as one of the most controversial movies in recent memory, but it isn't. It's just another movie. It's an action horror that centers on this group of completely random strangers that find themselves out in the woods. They don't know the specifics at all, but it's not long before they realize why they have been selected, which is to be hunted. So let's get into the good, the bad, and why I think calling this film controversial adds a small element of comedy to it as well. So originally this movie was due for a release back in September, but after the tragic mass shootings in Dayton, Ohio, as well as in El Paso, Texas, the promotional campaigns for the movie pretty much halted. President Trump also came out and indirectly slammed the movie as well, although he probably hadn't even seen it, and a day later it was announced that the movie would be shelved indefinitely. You fast forward 6 months, and here we are in March. The Hunt is getting its theatrical release. It's also cozying up quite nicely next to the public awareness, using the delay heavily in its new marketing campaign in an attempt to just label the film as the most controversial, most talked about movie that no one's ever seen. Well, I've watched it, and I actually did get quite a bit of enjoyment out of it, but to be honest, I had a hard time seeing what all the fuss was about with this movie, given that the content in it is nothing that we haven't already seen on screen so many times before, with the script that teases societal ideas to maneuver the story, but comes nowhere close in the dialogue department to actually building a political stance of substance between the left and the right. And when you strip all that away, you're left with just an action thriller with a strong influence of horror that delivers its share of mindless entertainment. It knows exactly what it wants to accomplish, and I thought it succeeded. The story does get going very quickly. It's only a matter of a few minutes before the main characters are just thrown right into the middle of the chaos, and it locked me in and had my attention. It also doesn't take long before the film starts to subvert some expectations as well. You can never be too sure which character is safe, where the kills are going to come from, or when they're going to strike, and I felt that added a fun engagement level to what was otherwise a formulaic storyline. To me, I think unpredictability can be just a great addition to a routine movie, and this one did use it to its advantage. I mean, sure, the overall progression of the story from a more wider perspective does feel very generic, but the steps that it took along the way did add enough freshness to keep me really interested in where things would go. This one just had a surprisingly engaging level of curiosity while watching that I didn't expect from it. It nicely plants seeds for the who and why of things in this movie, and the result was just an interesting, fun kill fest, because that's what this movie was. It was a simple story about a bunch of random people being hunted, with the why and the how of things being what kept the intrigue going. I mean, you're thinking, who set this up? Why these people? Why hunt the humans in the first place? What was the cause? What was the motivation? All of these were questions that I pondered while watching, and while not a lot of these things were given sound foundation, it was still a level of mental interest that I wasn't expecting from this movie. I kind of just expected to see some gratuitous violence, some dark humor, a little suspense to top it off, and some killing, and it delivered a little bit more than that, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, it was a by-the-numbers movie, but still a little bit ambitious and creative in how it set up the violence, how people were killed and when, which I did appreciate. I was actually able to put myself into the position of the characters to imagine what I would do in their situations, and there was a nice range in the personality types to provide a collection of characters that many different people can connect with. You may not share the same backdrop or culture, but their decision making is where you can relate to them just enough to want to see where this thing is going to go. But I gotta say, without a doubt, the best thing about this movie was Betty Gilpin in the lead as Crystal. There was just a fun mystery around her character. Some would call it a simple underdevelopment, but I think I really thought the unknowns were what made her character a very intriguing one. Gilpin was very comfortable in the role, and she embodied the personality perfectly. I thought she was also fantastic in all the action sequences as well, from gunplay to kicking ass. She was just great all around, and with her doing a lot of her her own stunt work, the camera was just able to sit back and capture her in all her violent glory. I thought it was entertaining to see a female lead character that abandons many of the character tropes. She was relentless, she was matter-of-fact in dishing out punishment, and she felt authentic while doing so. So in the end, I was pleasantly surprised with The Hunt. I'm going to give it 75% on the meter. It was generic in a few spots, but it was also kind of creative in others. Plus, with a tight 80-minute runtime, the pace is pretty swift. Don't try to overthink the messages in this movie because the film doesn't take a firm stance on anything really. It just plays on social stereotypes to move its narrative, but doesn't come close to deep diving into the themes for anything more than that. It's just a human hunting human movie, much in the vein of The Purge or Surviving the Game, and for that aspect, I thought it was entertaining. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.